Hello everybody, it's time for another action-packed video that repeats a user manual example topic. What we're going to do is we're going to repeat in a video the user manual topic which covers how to format the size of city points by population by using a field in the drawing. What we're looking at here is Manifold Future, and we've got a map that's open. We can alt-click it to dock it or to undock it. And it's got two layers. It's got a drawing that's called a cities layer, which shows cities in France as points, and it's got another drawing called regions that provides some background. That's just regions of France. It's actually the old regions pre-2016, but still it's a cool map. If we open up the cities table, we can see that each record, each dot has the name of a city, and it has the population for that city. Now these are not all the cities in France. These are only those that are of population 20,000 and larger. And what we're going to do is we're going to vary the size of these points depending on the population, that is the pop field that is in the table. We do that automatically. So we're going to click on the contents pane, and here we see we have default formatting for these various dots. What the contents pane shows us in the upper row, these are formatting characteristics. That is the style properties for areas. Then come the style properties for lines. Then come the style properties for points. This is the primary color that's in black, which is used for the borders of icons, for example, of points. This is the fill color, or background color, which is used, for example, the fill color for points. This is the symbology, for example, points we can see are using a round symbol. And this is the size of points, which by default are 5 points. This is also the rotation factor here for points. Now the cities drawing only has points in it, so we're just going to be working with the points. If we want to change one of these factors, it's easy to do. We click on it, and there we've changed the background color to a bright green. Let us now format the size, so we'll set the size of points by the content of the populations field. That's called thematic formatting. Here's the size button right here. We can click on it, and there's no field selected, so we will of course select the population field called pop. And right away Manifold goes out and calculates for the number of breaks that we've set forth here what the statistics should be, and using the equal intervals method, which is the default method, Manifold will automatically calculate this many intervals, where for each one of them the jump in population from the one interval to the next is about the same range. So for example, the first interval is from 20,000 to about 500,000, the next is from about 500,000 to 1,000,000, 1,000,000 to 1,500,000, and then 1,000,000 to a little over 2,000,000, which of course is Central Paris. In all of these cases, the jump is about 500,000 in population. Now, the problem that we have with using this default method is that most of the cities in France are way under 500,000 in population. And we can see here from the statistics that 99.5% of them are of this size number or less. So if we use this interval to thematically format our drawing, basically all the points are going to end up the same size, because most of them, 99.5% of them, will all fall into this first bin. So instead, let's use a different method. Let's use the equal count method. And what the equal count method will do, notice how quickly Manifold recalculated all these numbers. Manifold goes out and it looks into the table and it sees what all the population values are for all these dots, and it arranges intervals with 5 breaks where approximately the same number of records is in each of these intervals. So we can see that about 25% of them are in this first interval from 20,000 to around 25,000. The next 25% of the records are from 25,000 to about 33,000, then from 33,000 to 50,000, and then the final 25% are from 50,000 to this number here. So we can see that 75% of the cities in France have 50,000 or less population. France is has a population that's very evenly distributed through many rural zones and many smaller cities. Terrific. So here is the size factor for each one of these bins. Currently set to 0. We can change that. Let's make the first one 5. The second one let's make the second one 6. Then let's say 8, 10, and 12. Great. And we'll click Update Style, and like magic, Manifold goes ahead and it resizes all these points so that the size of the point is indicative of the population value. We've just done our example here, which is to resize the size points by the contents of their population field. But let's do more. Let's do more interesting things. So for example, we can click here and we can change the symbol to squares. Let's change the color. Let's do a thematic format for the color. And to do that, let's also use the population field, so it's about the same thing. And let's also use the equal count. And now let's throw a palette onto these color wells right here. They all start off black, and we can do that by choosing palette. And I'll use the Color Brewer spectral palette. Let's see, I'll try to find it here off screen. There it is. And we click Update Style, and all the points are immediately colored into that lovely style that we see right there. Suppose we don't particularly like that lovely style, and we'd like to change the color values of these things, and we don't particularly like having so many greens. We'd rather switch this around so that the red is on the bottom and the blue is on top. That's easy to do. We click into here, click Control A to select all the intervals, and then we right click here and we choose Reverse. Let's actually reverse the menu off screen. Then we click Update Style, and voila, we have a much prettier arrangement. At least I think it's prettier with the orangish colors here that I think do better with the against the blue colors. But all the same, if you take a look at this, we see that this is it's kind of like a fairly busy display here. If you look at what it's doing, we really want to know what the size of the cities are and what the cities are by population. And coloring all the regions here, although those colors are certainly magnificent colors, they kind of detract from the presentation. They're confusing. That's not really the variable we want to show. We want to show how the cities are populated. So let's change the colors in the regions. And to do that, I'll click on the Regions tab, and you can see that instantly the Contents pane changes. Whenever we click here, if the active layer is cities, Contents pane shows what cities are. If we click Regions, the Content pane shows what the regions are. And the thematic format for regions is this right there. We're going to change that, so instead of using a thematic format, we're just going to use one color for all the different areas. So to do that, I'll just click here in the color well, and I'll choose a custom factor. Let's choose this beige color. This is the standard Icky Winders color picker dialog. And there, like magic, instead of using a thematic format, we've now changed the regions so that they're all using that same kind of even color. It's still a little busy, so we can make that even simpler. One of the things that makes it busy is that the regions have border lines here, which are this black color. So let's change that black color to something that's a little calmer. And there, that's better. That's a much calmer and quieter display. What can we do to continue working here? Let's see how the same drawing, when it's formatted in Manifold and it's used in different layers and appears in different windows, nonetheless changes format as you direct. So first, let's undock this map window right here, and I'll resize it so it's about that big, and let's zoom in to the regions. Great. Now let's in this project here. Let's double-click the cities drawing to open that, and let's undock that, and let's make that a little smaller. And zoom to fit. Let's change the regions table too. Let's open that up. There's regions. Let's make that a little bit smaller as well. Zoom to fit. If the cities pane looks a little weird here, that's because cities, if we take a look at what the projection is, that's actually in latitude and longitude. So this is what a latitude and longitude display of cities in France look like. It's got that squished look that you get, with spatial data in higher latitudes as you get farther away from the equator. If we look at the map here, and notice how the contents pane changes context depending on what I'm clicking. If I click cities, it shows me information for cities. If I click here for the map, it shows me information for the map. The map is an orthographic. So even though the cities are in latitude and longitude, they're being reprojected on the fly into the map. So they use orthographic projection here. But here we're using them in their native latitude and longitude projection. Here regions are also an orthographic, centered on France, so the regions have the same projection. Let's start by changing the style of regions. Here, the regions window is the active one, so content shows that. Let's change the border color to white. Notice that when I change it here for this drawing here in regions, every place where that region's drawing is used as a layer, it also automatically changes. So that's a convenient way of making changes in one window where it's convenient to work with a particular drawing, while in the other window, no matter what the zoom factor is or anything like that, we see the corresponding change. That gives us an idea of how it might look in a different contextual situation. Likewise, let's click here on cities. So now the contents pane is going to show us formatting information for cities. And whatever we change here in the cities window with the contents pane is also going to be automatically updated in any window that uses the cities drawing as a layer. So for example, let's change the style of the point to triangles. So immediately it changes to a triangle. Let's change the rotation. Let's change the rotation here to, let's make it 45 degrees. That's this, I think that's what the user manual uses, topic uses, and right away it changes both here and there. So all that is cool. All that is a wonderful thing, and it's really convenient to see that we can change this stuff anytime we like. By the way, if we don't like this particular projection here, we can change from latitude, longitude to some other projection. Let's change it to the same orthographic that's used in the map window. Zoom to fit. There now it's an orthographic. There we saw how quickly and easily we can change projections in Manifold. It's just a remarkable product in terms of speed. And what's cool about this, although we're only working with a few thousand points here, we could have 1 million points, and that reprojection would have happened just as quickly. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. This is a duplicate of the example that's in the user manual, which is lavishly illustrated with all these steps illustrated point by point. As you can see, it's much quicker to watch it here in a video than it is to pour through all those illustrations in the user manual. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And goodbye from Manifold Land. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.